Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Thank you for coming back. Now, let's move on with our seemingly never-ending topic, the magical and mysterious 432 Hz tuning. So why exactly should we tune to 432 Hz? What's the big deal? Well, that's sort of what I'm trying to explain here, and it's gonna take some time. I'm gonna take it one step at a time. If you want to know the whole thing right away, if you are impatient, you can always get my book. I will link my website below here, and you can click on there and you will find links to the book and to everything else that I do. For now, why 432 Hz? Well, the reference pitch or the reference note in music, the international standard, is 440 Hz, and we have decided to call this an A note. Exactly why we have decided to use the A note as the reference pitch or the reference note for tuning, I don't know. We could have called, the Western scale starts with a C, so it sort of makes more sense that the reference note should be a C note, but it's an A for some reason. I probably could have found out why by doing some Googling. I have done some superficial research, you could say. I couldn't find an answer, and it's not relevant. It's not relevant. The thing is, why do we call it 432 Hz tuning? Because 432 Hz is an A, and that's the standard reference note in musical tuning. If the standard reference note was C, then we probably would have called it 512 Hz tuning or 256 Hz tuning. If the reference note was an E, we probably would have called it 324 Hz tuning or 648 Hz tuning. But it's an A, so we call it 432 Hz tuning. Is the 432 frequency any more or less special than any of the other frequencies? Maybe. It could be. It's definitely a significant number. You have people like, it's one of those numbers that repeat themselves more often than others in myth, for example, and in the geometry of space. It's definitely a significant number, and it's definitely, from my experience, a very powerful frequency, but more special, more powerful than many of the other frequencies that we talk about. I simply don't know. They are very powerful too, in my experience. We do have Joseph Campbell, though, who say that 432,000 is the most important mythological number in the history, in the world. If you don't know who Joseph Campbell was, he was an American professor, very interested in mythology, and he compared mythologies from all over the world, and he drew comparisons. He compared them. It makes sense. Anyway, let's move on. The 432 and the other magic frequencies, the numbers, are connected to the geometry of creation itself. In my next video, for example, I'll be talking about 432 Hz or 432 in relation to the cycles of time. For example, in 24 hours there are 86,400 seconds. And in 12 hours, of course, that means there are 43,200 seconds. 432. And when we look further into the cycles of time, the magic numbers that I talked about in the previous video are all over the place. But I will talk about that in the next video. This video, I will keep it kind of short, at least I'll try. And I'll just tell you something that I find quite interesting. And I'll read mostly here, because if I try to remember it, I'll just mess it up. So, it is said that in ancient science, in yogic science, thousands and thousands of years ago, way before what we now call modern Western science, they said that the diameter of the moon was 2,160 miles. And of course that makes the radius of the moon 1,080 miles. We recognize the number 216, which is one octave below 432. We also recognize the number 108, which is 2 octaves below 432. According to NASA, I went to NASA's website and I looked what do they say about the size of the moon. They say that the diameter of the moon is 2,159 miles. And that's, I mean, come on. That's close enough. That's a 1 mile difference. And they say that these people, thousands and thousands of years ago, when we, our civilization, our culture, we sort of looked down upon them and, oh, they were just stupid and superficial, simple people. And they had no instruments to measure these things, at least that we know about. They came that close? Come on. Come on. We can't just dismiss that as nothing. There's something there. Also, they said that the diameter of the sun is 864,000 miles, and that, of course, makes the radius 432,000 miles. Again, I went to see what NASA said. According to NASA, the true diameter is 864,900 miles. That's the diameter, yeah, and the radius is 432,450 miles. I mean, once again, this is so extremely close. We can't just dismiss it. There's something here. They were onto something. How do they know this thousands of years ago without any instruments? Did they have instruments that we just don't know about? Or did they know in a different way? If you look into the yogic texts and yoga practice, it is said that they look within because the structure within the human body reflects the structure of the greater creation, as above, so below, and so on. And again, I check with NASA because they are like the top authority on this these days. But do I have blind faith in NASA just because they're NASA? Definitely not. I respect modern science. I'm definitely interested and intrigued by modern science, but I also very clearly see its many shortcomings. So I use them as a reference point, and in this case it shows that they are pretty close to what the ancient scientists said. Who's right? Who knows? It's impossible to know. We can just use the information we have and make the best conclusion we have. And I find it absolutely fascinating how all these numbers show up in the musical scale when we tune a certain way, and that's pretty much what I'm trying to communicate to you here. So, let's move on. It is also said in yogic texts that the sun is 108 times bigger than the earth, and according to NASA, it is about 109 times. Further, the ancient yogis said that the distance from the earth to the sun is 108 times the diameter of the sun, and the distance from the earth to the moon is about 108 times the diameter of the moon. Once again, I mean, you know why I have to read this? I just can't remember this. If I try to say it without reading it, I would mess it up terribly. If you look at the NASA numbers, you will see that once again they are pretty damn close. How do they know? Yeah, that question is up in the air. I have no idea. But like they said, they looked within. They went into deep meditative states, trance states, and they saw this within their own structure, within the structure of the body. And they knew that the body, that everything in creation reflects everything else in creation. So the body is built up by the same principles, the same geometry as the cosmos, as the solar system, as everything in creation, from the smallest little piece till the biggest piece. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say today, just to give you that little insight and explain to you exactly why I choose to tune to 432 hertz, why I believe in this 100%, why I'm so intrigued by this, and why I'm so obsessed with spreading this information, with sharing this information with the world. I'm not the only one doing it, of course. I'm not in any way claiming that I have invented any of this or that I'm some kind of great discoverer. I have discovered a few things that I haven't seen anywhere else. But many things I have read from books and seen online and figured out through just simply playing music. My great advantage before getting into all this is I already understood music, so I didn't have to start 100% from scratch. I already had a very good foundation, and I understood tuning and things like that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for playing my music. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Please like the video so more people can see it. Please comment, let me know what you think. Am I terrible at this? Should I just quit? Or should I keep going? What can I do better? What am I already doing good? I'm very interested in having a conversation with you, whoever you are, watching or listening to this channel. I know who some of you are, but I mean there are 1,700 subscribers now. I only know a fraction of you. Who are you? Say hello, please. And like always, I appreciate that you play my music on Spotify, listen in iTunes, or download in iTunes or Bandcamp. You can get my book if you want to know all this stuff, and also, you know, you support me a little bit if you do these things. If you really want to support me, I have a Patreon page you can check out. I will link my website, thehealingvibe.com, in the description. If you click that, you will find links to everything there. Once again, thank you. I hope this made some kind of sense. I hope this intrigued you and that you are curious to watch the next video, which will be out in about a week. And I will be talking about the time cycles more specifically. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.